Hi all, thank you for attending. My name is Rico Sumana and I am the VP of Sales here at IWL. Joining me from my team is Todd Alice, the Network Administrator. Today, we will show you how to use our graphical user interface to execute tests in our TCP IP test suite. The Maxwell Pro TCP IP test suite can provide you with the customization and flexibility you need to accurately test your TCP IP implementation and meet your testing schedules. Our TCP IP test suite contains unique cases to take on parameters for greater test coverage. The tests ensure TCP compliance through vulnerability and robustness testing with tests for both IPv4 and IPv6. Finding and fixing TCP bugs prior to deployment assures secure, interoperable, high-quality apps and devices with fewer deployment failures, thus avoiding costly recalls or on-site repairs. It is best that you find problems in your lab before customers do. So now Todd is going to demonstrate how easily you can execute our TCP IP test by using our TCP IP test suite with Maxwell Pro.
Hello everyone, I'm Todd, a Senior Network Engineer at Interworking Labs. Here's our TCP IP test suite homepage. We are looking at the tests item highlighted in blue. The left panel shows the TCP IP tests with the subcategories of IPv4 and its group of tests, such as datagram, fragment, and so on. Then the subcategory of IPv6, then UDP and TCP. Here in the middle, we have the specific tests for each category and subcategory. So if we look at just the first one, we see the name and number of the test, its status, and purpose. If we click on this first test, note that a very detailed description of the test comes up on the right. These descriptions contain the purpose of the test, the expected outcome, the references or source of authority, the assumptions, the type of DUT or device under test. This information is very important in the event of a test failure. The QA engineer has all the information to provide the development engineer about the result. Now let's see what is involved with running a set of tests. Note, if we hover over this item, we see a tooltip that says Run Selected Tests. Now I will select all the tests in the IPv4 datagram category. This is a total of 39 tests. We can go back to the little blue icon to Run Selected Tests and click it. Notice that as the tests are running, the progress bar is increasing to show you what percentage of the tests are completed. The colored balls with the changing numbers indicate the number of tests that are failing. That's in red, of course. The other numbers indicate tests passing, not determined, and total. If you wanted to run all the tests, then you could return to the list of tests and click on the box to the left of TCP/IP. But I won't do that because it takes a long time. Clicking on this red X stops all the tests. Clicking on the refresh button resets all the tests and the results. And confirm. Now you have probably been wondering what we are testing. For the device under test, I am using a Raspberry Pi, a single board computer. For each test, the TCP/IP test suite is sending packets to the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi must respond appropriately in order to pass the test. One thing about the TCP/IP protocol is that it does most of its work silently. So in order to know what is going on, we have an echo server installed on the Raspberry Pi. That is something we provide to you to incorporate on your device under test. Before I start the first set of tests, let's look at how these tests are set up. TCP/IP test setup. Here we see the 4 values I have entered, which include the IP address of the MaxPro and its port number, along with the IP address for the device under test. MaxTap is a convention for setting up two-way traffic. Now let's go back to the tests. Now I'll clear the datagram and click on the ARP tests. And let's see how the Raspberry Pi handles these tests. I'm going to wait a moment here. Okay. As you can see, we have passed the initial validation test, so we know that we have set up and configured the system properly. This will take some time, so let's skip ahead. Okay, now the tests have completed. If we scroll down, you see that the first failures were at 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now let's take a look at the error description to see what is causing the failure. We can do this by clicking on the little icons at the top right of the screen. Note in Test Details, you can click on the test suite name, the ARP tests, and then scroll down to 15. And we see that the DUT did not update its translation table. And if we look at the second column that contains the documentation, we can see the details of the test. It's a little tough to read, so I will click on that. And now we have a nicely formatted description. Basically, the DUT failed to conform to RFC 826 when receiving an unusual ARP message. Now I'll pass it back to Rika.
So Todd just showed you how to test your device to ensure TCP compliance through vulnerability and robustness testing with tests for both IPv4 and IPv6. Thanks for your time, and if you have any questions at all, please contact us at info@iwl.com or just visit our website at iwl.com.